All right, David.
Hi there.
David, where'd you grow up? Where are you from originally?
I'm from a place called Petaluma, California, and that's up in the Bay Area, up north.
Tell me about your family growing up.
Growing up, my family, I'm a first generation. My family grew up in Mexico, so both my father and my mother grew up in Mexico. And I'm the first generation that was born here in America. You know, they crossed over for a better life for us and for a better opportunity.
How would you describe your childhood?
I would describe it very, very rough. I faced a lot of adversity growing up. Basically, ever since I was 5, single parent, no father. Father was out of the picture. I had to endure a lot of poverty. I was on welfare food stamps. I remember not having enough food for everybody all the time. When I was a child, I was often late to school because I had to wait for my mother to get off finishing her first out of 3 jobs, crossing guard, so that she could take me to school safely. Until a point where she could no longer afford to do that physically. She had to stay at her job extra. So I couldn't have any support going to school. I had to walk myself there. That amounted to progressive alcoholism. I'm the youngest of 5, and my brother, because my father left, and his mental health issues, he had a lot of bipolar and schizophrenic issues when he was 16, 17, a lot of symptoms. So he started taking medication and then drinking on top of it. And because of that, he is now permanently schizophrenic, and he would take out his rage and anger and frustration of not having friends, not having enough food, on his own family. He would physically abuse and, basically beat the crap out of my mom and my 3 sisters right in front of my eyes. And there was nothing I can do except feel so helpless and just watch.
He abused you as well?
He never abused me for whatever reason. For some reason, he looked to me for support and comfort after the acts of physical abuse. Kind of like as like consolation, and I never felt comfortable ever giving it to him after witnessing what he did. So that's what it was like, almost on a weekly basis, like holes in almost every door in the house and walls. And my mom did the best she could do. She did 3 jobs, and I had to go with her on the 3rd job that she would go to, which was cleaning offices at like 8 or 9 p.m. after her 2nd job, because she couldn't afford a babysitter while she was out. So she would bring me, the youngest of 5, while everyone else is put in bed, to go clean until it was time to go home and go to bed. And I would do that up until I could start legally working at 16 or 16 and a half. I think that was the legal age in California, so that I can support my mother and myself financially. And things slowly started getting better after that. But that's how it was growing up. I was the kid that never really had any presents under the Christmas tree. The kid that basically just tried to fit in but could never fit in. Just wanted comfort and friends and food. And
You finished high school?
yeah, I did graduate high school with a diploma. I attended some college as well.
Oh, good. What did you want to do with your life?
I think I still want to do it. I was pursuing a career in radiography for a radiologic technologist. So essentially, you're just taking x-rays for patients, whether it's in a clinic or a hospital, wherever you can take an image of like a radiograph is what it's called. And I was pursuing that for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and finished all the prerequisites. I stopped doing that when I started needing to go back to work so I can sustain myself, because my mother said that she would no longer sustain me being in her house. I was about 21 or 22 at the time, and she thought that it was about time for me to start working for my living. And so I stopped going to school. That's when I got into car sales, and that's when my own alcoholism progressively started. There was a bar next door to the garage and the dealership of the Subaru I was working at. And I'd go there for drinks with coworkers after work, slowly, progressively during lunch, every day. And I lost that job due to a DUI. And from there, it's kind of been downhill. Life's never really gotten any better for me because I chose to pursue a career in drugs and alcohol instead of trying to better my life. And that's when I started experimenting with drugs, especially opiates. Opiates, I've tried, uppers and cocaine and all that other stuff. But because my life growing up, it's just, I was full of anxiety my whole entire childhood, that it would give me nothing but anxiety doing those kinds of drugs. I needed something to kind of chill me out and calm me down. So that's where I found alcohol for my solution and marijuana for my solution, to kind of just take the edge off so I could feel like I could breathe again, And so that's what opiates did for me as well. And Xanax, that's why I love the downers. I'm a total downer dude. And that took me to do a lot of geographics. I used to move around different areas, and my problems follow me wherever I go, and nothing ever got better wherever I went.
Where do you stay now?
So now I stay actually
You on Skid
in a
Row?
small, yeah. Well, I was going to the Mission, but they didn't have any room available, no beds. So I ended up finding a small little studio apartment for aspiring artists, musicians, and basically people that are trying to improve and better their lives. I found a small little apartment unit, and that's actually very close by.
And how do you support yourself?
I work. I find right now side jobs. Right now, currently, I am thankfully healthy enough. I'm not, to get up in the morning and get myself out of bed and hit somewhere where there's Wi-Fi to go look for jobs. I apply to 5 to 10 jobs a day. I've been doing this for about 2 to 3 months, and it's just been unfortunately slow because of the holiday season. A lot of companies aren't really working or looking for employees around this time of the year. I've had a job ever since I've been in Los Angeles, and it's in the restaurant industry. And because I decided to start showing up high on fentanyl, eventually they started catching on. So of course they took away my hours.
That'll get in the way.
Huh?
That'll get in the way.
Yes, of course. And I don't know what I was thinking and why I thought that was a good idea, but that's just where my addict brain will take me, to those places for some reason. It just seems like a good idea, or like, why not? No one's gonna know. No one's ever gonna find out. Of course they do, and they did, right? So I got cut off from work since November, and I've been looking for side jobs to support myself financially, to pay for my rent, and to do my best to stay off fentanyl.
And how are you doing with that?
It's an upward slope, kind of like a stock market graph. Up and down, but the overall trend is going up. It's going good. I'm not going to say it's going great, because I have had a couple of overdoses within the last month or two. And those would be about my 8th or my 9th overdose on fentanyl. The last one that I had, that was my wake-up call, because that was the first time where I actually died for about half an hour. If no one was there resuscitating me with CPR until paramedics arrived, paramedics told the person resuscitating me that I would have not made it. My heart rate was next to 5 beats per minute, they said. And they gave me 3 or 4 shots of Narcan just to wake me up and get me out of the slumber. And I don't remember ever waking up like that or how I got in that position or place. But all I remember is just kind of like curtains of blackness or darkness, but the other way. Like when people start blacking out, their vision starts going black from the front. I started waking up and I started getting my vision from the back forward. But I was in a stretcher all of a sudden, and I had an ambulance calling me by my name, and I had no idea what had happened. And then I realized it's because I snorted way too much. And that was very recently. That was about 2.5 to 3 weeks ago. That was my wake-up call. That's when I decided that I really wanted a change for my life, for my future, because if I don't do it, I'm either gonna die, or in my opinion, what's worse is live a life full of suffering, which is, what we see out here And I can't do that to myself anymore. I can't do that to my mom. I can't do that to my family. You know, she sacrificed so much for me, dude. And that's what that's how I'm gonna treat her sacrifices that she made so I can live a better life. I can't do that. That's selfish. You know, I've been in and out of Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. I've been working programs. That's what got me into the position I'm at, where I'm able to stand on my own 2 feet with a roof over my head. My problem has been just keeping what I have earned and staying off the fentanyl. I always, for some reason, stop remembering how bad it got, and I just think that my mind will go to places, crazy places, where all of a sudden it just thinks it's a great idea to go get a little sack and go get high real quick. And next thing I know, I'm blacking out, and I've lost my backpack, I've lost my clothes, I've lost my laptop. In fact, that happened right before the 2 weeks ago. That happened about 4 or 5 days before that overdose. I overdosed, and I woke up, my phone was gone, my wallet was gone with $80. I had my ID in there, you know, and now I'm going through employment issues with my ID because I'm waiting for an ID. Now I can't get a job. All of these problems keep adding up, and it gets only worse and worse, all because I think that smoking fentanyl is a good idea. And obviously it's not. And I really need to just completely get off it, like entirely. I take, you know, I've had almost 10 overdoses and I've died.
Are you still drinking as well?
I drink, not frequently. I wouldn't say, in between moderately and very occasionally. I'll have probably 3 or 4 drinks a week. I mean, I guess 5 or 6 because I drink tall cans. I don't drink, like, you know, the little ones or whatever. And you know, I do smoke marijuana. I smoke weed. You know, I smoke weed every night. I stay off the weed and the booze. Stay off it all day so I can, you know, go to Starbucks, go get my coffee somehow or somewhere, and pull out the laptop somewhere with internet where I can hopefully look for a job and take care of my business. And then at the end of the night, after I feel like I did, you know, a good enough job or effort into a better life for myself, then maybe, you know, I'll have like a tall can or 2 and I'll smoke my weed. I do smoke weed. I am trying to stop smoking weed eventually again, and drink too, because I had my longest length of sobriety, straight sobriety, no alcohol, no nothing, was about 3 or 4 months. And that was the best sleep I've ever gotten in my life. And so I'm trying to get back to that point, but for right now, I'm doing what I feel like I need to do to stay as far away from fentanyl as possible, because that's what's gonna kill me, or even worse, is just live a life full of insanity.
Do you have any friends?
I do. Very few. I've burned all those bridges. I've burned a lot of relationships in my past, obviously from stealing from family or friends, so I can get high. And you know, just overall relationship issues and just trust issues. I've lost most of them. You know, so I barely have even family that barely wants to talk to me, or they don't even take my word for what I say, because how can they? I've betrayed their trust, and I've lied to them for years and years, almost, you know, 8, 9 years up to this point when my addiction started. And it's so hard to gain that trust back that, you know, I don't have essentially anyone out here. I don't have a community out here. I don't have any friends out here. I'm really out here by myself.
How old are you?
I just turned 30 years old on New Year's Eve, the 31st. Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. It felt good not getting high on my birthday for the first time in a long time. And I feel comfortable. I'm proud to say that, you know. It's hard. It's not easy, you know. Every day is a little harder some days harder than others. Some days easier than others to want to get high. But getting the getting high aspect, the obsession in my mind, it's something that doesn't go away permanently. It might go away for a week, 2 weeks, or a month, but eventually, even if it's for a second or a day, that thought will come into my own head and be like, hey, you know, remember when you used to smoke, you know, dope? Or remember when you're smoking dope? You know, you want to go get high real quick? And I just got to make sure, you know, like every day I keep myself in check into focusing on what I need to do to stay away from smoking fentanyl, because just one bad stressful event, I can just say, fuck it. And I'm gonna go get a sack. I know where to go. You can find that shit anywhere around here. And it's killing everybody left and right. But for some reason, that statement and that understanding alone is still not enough for me to push me away. For some reason, me knowing that I might lose everything I have again, I might die, that most of the time, it keeps me away from copying. But sometimes there's nothing that's gonna keep me from going to get high. And those are the days where, you know, I really need to figure out how I can avoid getting high. Because every time that happens, I'll go get high. I'll go get a case of the fuck hits if I didn't get the job, if something doesn't go right, this and that, boom, boom, boom. If things don't go my way and I'm not in a good mood already, it's a lot easier for me to go and just say, fuck it, I'm gonna just go get a sack. I know where to go real quick. And at that point, once my mind's made up, the action is gonna follow, you know?
Is that an addiction issue or is it a self-worth issue?
I would say it's two sides of the same coin, because I feel like, you know, my value as a person, I feel like I have some value, but I just don't know to what extent. And I haven't discovered what I'm worth, you know, and every day I wake up and I'm not like, I grew up religiously, like staunch Catholic household, church every Sunday. And I mean, I'm not like a churchgoer. Sometimes I'll come around a church, but I'm more spiritual and I believe in God, obviously, you know, and I talk to God. I talk to God every single day, and I ask him for guidance and strength and direction, and just show me what I need to do in order for me to live the right life that you want me to live. Like, give me your purpose. Show me the purpose that, please. Like, because without that, without that purpose that God wants to give me, I'm gonna go out there and get high again. I'm just gonna go out there and use, you know? It's just gonna happen. And God works. God, for me personally, is very real. My higher power, very real, because there's just been so many things happening in the past 2 or 3 weeks that have been nothing but just miracles or God shots, just nothing but short of that. And I got dropped off at the mission, and they had no more room for me in the morning. This was before I got this place. And so when I left the mission, I looked around at all of the stuff that was around me at Skid Row, and all the people and literal human shit on the ground that you got to watch out and not step on, and all of these things, and just trash everywhere. And I had all my luggage, and I'm thinking to myself, and I'm saying out loud, God, do I really want to live like this anymore? And so for about a half an hour, I prayed out loud to my higher power of my understanding. And I said, I just give me strength and direction, because I don't want to live like this no more. I want to change. And I ended up at a market that's, you know, fairly close by to, you know, Skid Row. And right next door to the market is a monthly hotel apartment complex for like subsidized housing. And I called the number, they said they had a room. And long story short, even though I had like no money up front to pay for the initial first month and last month of rent, I made a deal with the landlord and explained my story and my situation. And he said he could hear in my voice that I was being truthful and honest, but if we couldn't make a deal, then I would have to leave. Essentially, we made a deal. I can pay you 25% of the rent within the next 2 or 3 days, because that's all I can get. And you know, I'll continuously pay you money every week so that I can maintain a roof over my head. I just want a chance to live a better life, and I don't want to live like this anymore. And he said, okay. So we made the deal, and I paid him those $100. And ever since then, that day, I've had a roof over my head with restrooms, with, you know, a shower and a laundry. You know, I still struggle a little bit with, you know, getting high. I got high actually, you know, a little bit earlier today, you know, and but I'm working on, you know, making sure I keep that in check, and I'm doing the best I can do to just completely stop smoking fentanyl, because it's gonna kill me or it's gonna ruin me. There's no other choice, or there's no other solution or option.
What emotions do you go through living this life?
Just like straight despair, hopelessness, agony and pain, loneliness, emptiness, mistrust in the world and society and all of that is so alienating that it makes me want to stay away from people instead of socialize and connect with other people. We're social beings, you know, and all of those kinds of things, like living that kind of life and the daily stress of not being able to find a job and not having a phone to look for work, not having all of that stuff. It's so amounting that some days I'd just rather not wake up. I'd rather not be alive. But that's when I ask for strength and guidance. And for some reason, that's what I receive. And I get out of bed and there's something planned or lined up for me when I ask for that guidance. I don't know what the day is going to bring, but I just have the faith and the trust that whatever it brings, hopefully I'll be ready for it so that I can just be 1% better or even 0.5% better than I was yesterday, you know? And just small little improvements. I fucked my life up for 8 years, 9 years. My parents, my mom, you know, my dad, who the fuck knows, I don't know. My sisters and friends that I've burned and it's not gonna fix overnight. I want it to fix itself overnight, but it's not reality. I burned everything down for 8 to 9 years, so the least I can assume is it's going to take just as long for me to build everything that I've burned down back up. And I'm really trying to be patient with myself, even though I want to fix my life today and right now. I know it's just not reality, so I just got to make sure that I stay away from dope and stop smoking fentanyl, because I know for a fact that as soon as I start doing that, I will lose a job again. I'll lose a roof over my head again, and I'll end up on the street in Skid Row again. I'll lose everything and everyone, the few people I have left.
If you could have any one wish, what would that wish be?
I wish I can go back in time. I wish I could go back in time and thank you. I wish I can go back in time and not just erase all the wrongs I've done to my family, but fix them. I have so many amends to make today. I could write a book, and all of the pain that I went through is probably nothing compared to the pain that I put my family through. And there's nothing I can do to go back and fix that. But I can certainly start today. I'm trying my best.
Have you been in love before?
I have, yeah. I was a high school sweetheart. Dated her for 5.5 years, 6 years. And from Brazil, and things got sour because I was being selfish. Instead of being with her, I wanted to go smoke weed with my friends, my high school friends. And, you know, of course she got fed up with it after a couple years. And, you know, things just ended. And, you know, I haven't really spoke much to her. Wish I could make things right with her and make amends and fix that, because, you know, that was my first love, and I haven't really felt any love like that since, so.
What's your biggest fear?
That my biggest fear is that my mom is gonna die before she gets to see me live the life that she would like me to live.
What do you think people don't understand about drug addiction?
It's something that must be experienced to fully or truly understand. And in order to experience drug addiction, one must try or, use drugs. I feel like, it is a genetic disease, but I also do feel like there are drugs out there in our society, especially, pharmacology, pharmaceutical. Like someone that's never done drugs in their life, if they break a bone, or like an NFL player or an athlete, and then they get prescribed, say, Oxycontin for, about 3 months, and you got to take one every day, and then that's all they got. Well, after the 3 month supply is gone and then they're cut off, they can't get any more Oxycontin, they're gonna get withdrawals. That's addiction right there, where your body is going through a physical withdrawal because it now has become reliant and dependent on a substance that it is no longer being provided. So now it has to come up and make and produce its own chemicals. I think what people don't really understand about addiction is like I said, is that it's a lot easier to think you understand it rather than to truly understand it. Because to truly understand it, you have to experience what it's like to use drugs and then feel like, wow, like this is what it's like to be high. Now I don't not want to be high. If I can get this much dopamine or euphoria from just 5 seconds of smoking something off a piece of tinfoil, what's the point of, doing anything else if I can just feel this good for $5, $10, $15, $20? And it's also too like the obsession. People with addiction, they mentally obsess over these things, the drugs. They think about them often. The thoughts come into their head, and that's all they want to do because that's all their mind can think about. It's like alcoholism, where if someone that's an alcoholic that doesn't have any, they're going through withdrawals, things like that, they go to a grocery store, and they walk past the liquor aisle or the beer aisle, they're going to be staring at, the bottles and the beer for a long time, wishing that they could have a drink. It's the same type of thing where it's just constantly on your mind, just whatever the addiction is, whether it's, compulsive eating, people have like eating and diet issues, or it's more of a broad spectrum under the umbrella of mental health. And I feel like as a society, we need to be really paying a lot more attention towards mental health, because I feel like addiction in general comes from mental health issues.
What would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in your life?
The opportunity is there, but and the door is open, but I have to choose to walk through that door. I have a choice, and I have the freedom to make that choice, whether that's what my higher power gave me or whether that's just the way our society works. That's not what's important, and that's not for me to understand. What I need to understand is faith without works is dead. So I can really believe in God or a higher power, or believe that, I have a chance at creating a life for myself that is a normal life, like a normal person in society that contributes. But I have to put the work, and I have to choose to walk through that door. If I just stare at the door that's open and I don't take any action, I'll never have that life. I have to believe, but I also have to take action.
All right. David, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Wish you all the luck in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.